The following is a presentation of TFNN. The Power Trading Hour with your host, David White. Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648 or internationally at 727-873-7618. Now, David White.
And welcome all to another excellent edition of the Power Trading Hour. And of course, it doesn't matter where you're at as long as you're here at the appointed time.
The following takes place between 2 p.m. and 3 p.m.
So what do we have going on today? Well, market's getting a little bit of a whooping. Not unexpected. Options were pointing lower even Monday and Tuesday. We talked about that a little bit. Of course, today is options delta neutral day. So it's not uncommon to see kind of a dive out here and then a recovery before the end of the day. So I wouldn't be adding any more positions until later in the day. I can see a lot of reasons to sell. Don't know if there's a whole lot to say, let's go ahead and short right now. I did sell my one long position. And kind of sit back and see what's going on. I don't know exactly what's happening in the zeitgeist of the market, but it isn't good. And when we opened the day this morning around 11, or options around 11, it basically was showing the same thing that we were seeing kind of yesterday, and that is, at least on the SPYs, the market makers are worried all the way to 440. That's a fairly significant worry, not a prediction. The prediction will probably come today, but a fairly significant thought that we may have some kind of blowout over the next week and a half. Generally, 80% of the time, the market's going to be higher than the low of today on the 19th. And that's just 10 out of 12 times that's going to be true. And generally, the way you should think of it is most of the time, the low of the day is going to be exceeded. And generally, you're going to have about, on average, 0.75%, maybe 1% higher just over time, even in bad markets. So that takes that into effect. But in a good market, it's generally, you can look at it 1.5% between now and options expiration. The thing is that you get about 3 times that when the market's down during options expiration, probably because a lot of people have seen that pattern. They watched that movie before, and 10 out of 12 times, it's a lot of times to go against being short this time in the market. But I don't know. There's just a lot of things, and you never know when that last little blade of straw will go on the back of the camel and the market will falter. But just the massive amount of inflation, I don't know what it is. It's beyond me. I guess just the ability to deny all reality from the government, who's mostly responsible for the massive inflation. And then to act like you can't do anything about the price of fuel when you actually ran it up 50%. I don't know. Maybe they want to do this stuff. They just kind of lose me when they tell me something I know that's patently false. But certainly that's kind of it. Now, don't be surprised to see a rather large rally into the end of the day. This is options expiration. Probably a lot of people short already. If you do not get that, if we don't get a real change, especially in the next 24 hours, it probably does look like we could have some significant downside into the 19th. Give me a call today, 877-927-6648. And somebody said in the den, more spending will fix it. I think they just did everything but spit on Chairman Powell. So my guess is he probably will continue with rate hikes. I don't think there's any reason for him now to pull any punches. And maybe that's part of it. Maybe it's the inflation numbers. Maybe it's the ungodly inflation numbers we saw this morning. But maybe that's what it takes to wake a market up from complacency. But like I said, we've got the spiders, the SPY right now, 463.78, down 3.5, which is 0.75%. But when you've been up as long as we have, even a little bit seems like a lot. But we'll see by the end of the day what happens. But I wouldn't be surprised a little bit of a push. But we see the last 15, 20 minutes, we see selling. That's probably telling you that a few people are already headed for the exit stage left. Anyway, let's do a little history, and then we'll go on with it. Okay. Oh, we already did that. We've already done that. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. This is what we want.
Just a little bit of history repeating.
And on this day in 1983, Windows was actually released. I don't think it was actually usable in any kind of form till about 1995 or 6. And even then, I thought it sucked. But on 2001, Apple ships the first iPod, the device that changed the course of both music technology and industry. Of course, it gutted the music recording industry, destroyed it almost single-handedly. Of course, it was kind of on its way already with some of the other file-sharing sites online. This just kind of industrialized it, where you could buy a single track. You no longer bought the whole album, got to know the artist, and bought subsequent stuff. All you have now is kind of a stream of one-hit wonders. Most experts could only focus on the fact that other devices cost less. And, of course, Microsoft had one out that was before this that cost half and still didn't get any traction. But you know what? Apple had a better idea, the idea of an ecosystem to support it, their own store to support it, really made all the difference in the world. And guess what? For someone that was in competition with Microsoft and Apple, they took $500 million right around this time so that they could ship the thing. Without it, it would have been a very tough road for Apple to get any money. Of course, this is 2001. The dot-com market had just blown up. Cash was incredibly hard to get. And really, there wouldn't be a bottom in the market till March of 2003. But he had a vision. In fact, everything that he would build or touch pretty much had a fairly good idea about it by 2001, had already mapped out the road and war plans all the way into the iPhone, including earbuds, which are out now. In fact, Apple really hasn't released anything new. It wasn't on the drawing board since 2001. We'll be back in a minute and start going through some charts.
Are you grinding in the market, but seeing little to no return? Or are you a successful trader, simply looking to make your job a little easier? Learn to take the path of least resistance with David White's powerful trading newsletter. David White is an accomplished trader whose deep understanding of technology and the markets allows him to consistently find and share winning trades. Support and resistance define the ranges in which stocks trade. By understanding these trading ranges, David White is able to find a path of least resistance. David White's trading newsletter, The Path of Least Resistance, is delivered daily before the markets open to make every trading day an easy win. Visit TFNN.com today and subscribe to David White's Ultimate Trading Newsletter for $119 a month. And try all of our newsletters risk-free with our 30-day money-back guarantee. Take the path of least resistance at TFNN, educating investors.
What's separating you from the most successful men and women on Wall Street? That's right, information. Having all the information gives us the perspective we need to place the right trades at the right time. The TAS Profile Scanner is the premier market profile-based scanner. Powered by its acclaimed TAS proprietary algorithms, this feature-rich scanner instantly filters over 2,500 plus global financial markets, such as stocks, ETFs, commodities, futures, and Forex. This powerful suite of tools leverages instant trade filtering and strategy formulation to show you emerging trades before they happen. For a limited time, you can save $100 off your first month by using the promo code UPGRADE, and you still get a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to risk. Level the playing field with the TAS Profile Scanner, which you can find under the Services tab at TFNN.com. Sign up today.
Sharpening your skills as an investor is like getting better at playing a musical instrument. You have to practice, sure, but you also need excellent instruction from experts. At TFNN, you'll get advice and guidance from the authority in technical market analysis. And it's not just dry, tedious text either. TFNN airs live financial content streamed live on TFNN.com and TFNN's YouTube channel with Tiger TV, live every market day from 8:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern, for free. Each host is an experienced trader and gives their take on the market while taking calls and questions live from around the world. From the moment the market opens until the closing bell sounds, Tiger TV has 8 different shows with expert hosts to help you make the right moves with your money. Watch online at TFNN.com or on TFNN's YouTube channel and become the investor you were born to be. TFNN, educating investors.
Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-873-7618.
As we're back, I had a couple of things going on. I want to make sure I covered them all. Yeah, just a couple questions on gold. I think they were sniffing out those big numbers that were coming out today. I think a lot of people wanted to get in front of them. But I don't know if there's a whole lot other to say on that. But certainly gold up, crude down kind of tells you something. Another question, we talked about this, I think, on Thursday last week for 5 or 10 minutes. New battery company I can't even say it today. ENVX, Novix. I've watched the videos from the company, everything else. What I have not been able to find is a good quote on pricing. There's some generalized stuff, but what I've read from the detractors is that it's still incredibly expensive per se, and that's why they're not going and looking at cars. They're hoping that by making it small, that if it was $5, maybe it's $7. A regular battery's $5. Maybe this one's $8 or $10 or something. Maybe they can get the volume up and figure out how to get the production down and make it cheaper, at least for the first couple of years. But maybe it takes a little while for this thing to get going. People may be a little bit out in front and over the tips of their skis, but that's maybe the whole market. So, you saw a nice pop through the previous high, $28.50. That had 20 million shares. You only had about 1 million, 1.3, 1.4 million shares. The February 22 spike to 28.50 is what we were looking at. You never got that volume. A close today below 28.50 or in the next couple of days would say you're back into that lower trading range. But quite the candle yesterday to 34.80 and to give it all back up. But, I think there's just a lot of these stocks that I've been watching that did have kind of blow off tops yesterday, and we're getting kind of a move down. Again, we're going to need a little bit more confirmation. I've learned even at 2:20 in the afternoon not to get too far ahead of the option market makers, but it hasn't, normally it starts getting better in the morning or in the afternoon, but it hasn't really changed all day. So we'll give it the last hour and 40 minutes here for option market makers to come around. But they are thinking that, there's not much risk of going too much higher. They're kind of looking at 4,700 on the S&P cash as a brick wall, and looking at least, maybe in the neighborhood of 150 points lower is where support comes in. So we've got a fairly large range in the S&P from them. I just don't have a lot of really good data or chart patterns. Now, maybe we get those by the close today, but that's it. So we shall see. Anyway, I got some more emails here, so it's kind of... can you check back in on IBM now after earnings and everything else? I have to say that IBM's future with quantum computers, I'm really looking at what NVIDIA put forth for their solution, at least interim solution. And man, I don't know. The problem is you just don't see anything from IBM. They really don't go out and parade it much. But what NVIDIA showed was staggering. We've talked about it the last couple of days. Staggering about what they've introduced, especially in the simulation of quantum computers. Not surprised IBM's down here. There's not a lot of volume, but maybe just in a bigger trading range. But they're going to have to produce something to get them out of this funk. I do not see it getting that much better, other than short squeezes from time to time. They're going to have to actually start shipping something and making some sales. I don't see that changing much. Let's check in with the usual suspects on a down day. Mr. Softy, Mr. Microsoft, first day below the 9-day. And again, I'm wondering if we don't get a little bit of a pullback and then a push back higher. Now, this could take a couple of days. We're Wednesday. Let's say that we go a couple of days underneath this, one day over it, and then the next day underneath it. That would be my trigger to let loose the dogs of war and go all short on this market, medievally short on this market. We're just getting the first kind of taste down here. Yesterday you had 21 million shares. Today you got about 14, 15. So maybe volume doesn't really pick up so much. My guess, though, is if Microsoft did fail, you're only talking about 312 to support. There's ones that have a lot more problems out here. NFLX, take a quick look. Now, it broke under it, did so intraday, just been kind of going sideways. I could see it going back above it. I think that this could easily come back to the $500 mark. I've been watching it for a while. Did I say 500? It should have been 600. Hopefully I didn't scare anybody. 600. Yeah, I think generally when that happens, you have to log out and log back in. So it's probably a temporary thing, John. Okay, other things going on here. Anyway, we looked at Netflix. Could you get a bounce out of here? I think you could. But again, I think the big move down could be to $600 on Netflix on the next move lower. But these patterns where you go and have very long moves above a 3x3 or a 9-day, and then you kind of get some volume. Normally you get one more attempt where it breaks up. And in this case, 670, 675 on Netflix with no volume would be where you'd probably think about pulling the trigger on that if you want to go short. Let's see what Tesla's doing today. Rivian came out. That seemed to be enough to drive this thing right to $1,000. Got to 987.31. Same thing on this. I suspect maybe you get kind of a lift back above 1,100, maybe 1,100, 125. That would be what I'd like. Now, maybe the wheels just fall off the wagon and I don't get anything. But you never really got a good signal other than a couple of dojis up at the top. And, yeah, they were low volume, but it wasn't a great signal out here for Tesla. I suspect one, if it's going lower, will come. Microsoft, Amazon also sucking wind a bit today. It went right up to what you should look for in resistance, and that is coming back and filling a gap. That gap is July 30th at 10 million shares. Yesterday you had 4.3 million shares into it. Then you got 2.3. I think this is going to be a tough comparison to last year. A lot of the small stuff is still sitting on the docks. Sitting on the dock of the bay. Watch your time.
Are you having fun trading the markets but having trouble finding like-minded individuals to discuss your trading and investment ideas with? Become an apex predator in the trading markets and join the Tiger's Den Trading Room only at TFNN.com. The Tiger's Den is an exclusive trading room where successful traders from around the world come to exchange trades and ideas. Join the den and surround yourself with the sharpest minds in the trading world. Subscribers to the Tiger's Den are also the first to have their questions answered live on air and can privately chat with our TFNN hosts live during their shows. Interact with other Tigers and Tigresses as they share trading ideas, news analysis, and discuss the market action all trading day. Subscribe to the Tiger's Den risk-free with our 30-day money-back guarantee and become part of the TFNN trading community. TFNN, educating investors.
You could be making money off the stock market. And if you're already making money off the stock market, you could be making a lot more. Check out TFNN and Tiger TV and get expert investing advice to give you the power to control your financial future. Go to TFNN.com and find the newsletter for you. Whether you're into trading gold, metals, futures, currencies, or options, you'll get advice and analysis to help you seriously get ahead. TFNN also features trading services with a 30-day money-back guarantee for new subscribers, as well as TFNN's Tiger Den Trading Room, trading software, and educational webinars for all trading levels. And make sure you check out Tiger TV for free on TFNN.com or TFNN's YouTube channel for live financial content from 8:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern on market days. Stop watching on the sidelines while other people get rich and become the investor you were born to be. TFNN, educating investors.
TFNN is excited about our new software charting program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts. In collaboration with Tom O'Brien and using his best-selling book, The Art of Timing the Trade, Your Ultimate Trading Mastery System, David White has programmed an outstanding piece of software that will complement any trader's methodology. Using this first-of-its-kind program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts allows you to scan thousands of stocks for Fibonacci formation setups, including Gartley's, ABCs, butterflies, and much more. The Art of Timing the Trade Charts is designed to help you when scouring the markets for stocks just beginning to form the trading patterns that many investors spend days, weeks, or even months searching to find. And right now, we're offering licenses available at only $79 a month. We are so confident that you're going to love this new charting software that will even give you a 30-day unconditional money-back guarantee. Don't miss out on this incredible new piece of software. Get your copy of The Art of Timing the Trade Charts today by visiting TFNN.com.
This segment is brought to you by Thinkorswim. For more information, just click the Thinkorswim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
As we return, it's getting a little ugly out here. Down 44 on the S&P cash, which is down 1%. Dow's down 0.7%. Question, does this fulfill kind of what you've been talking about, which is gold tends to sell off a couple of weeks into a sell-off of the market, and then it starts getting a little bit better. Not as good, not as clear as the textbook version, but probably good enough for government work. Yeah. So, I mean, literally everything looked good for gold. We said that yesterday. Didn't see any change out here. That may probably be a fairly good move today that needs some consolidation. But, I think you finally busted the dam on gold, and everybody's aware of it now. 877-927-6648. Question about AMD's move today. They finally got a top in this, but guess what? AMD still has not broken the 3x3 on the way up, and the volume is not all that exciting. So are some of these things possible by the dips? They probably are. The problem I have is the diminished return if the rest of the market is sucking well, I can't say that. Anyway, if it's doing poorly. Other things going on, Intel had a fairly good launch of their new chip. That's kind of souring. Every day there's a few more things that came out that they did not test. I don't think that it puts an entire black shadow over the product. But you know what? With the ton of shorts in this thing, it's probably going to be darn near impossible unless they come out and admit that they're responsible for the kidnapping of the Lindbergh baby to go lower. There's just so many people that are short this thing at the moment. Other things going on in the market. Do I think anything else is going to change much? No. I'd love to see a rally into the end of the day. If you don't get it, I think the die is cast, and every bounce from now and probably into the 19th should be sold and probably shorted. Do we have a reversal on the TLT? I think we do. Maybe a bit of that is trying to replace Powell as the FOMC chief. Market doesn't like the unknown, and even if they think they know, they don't really know. You got to move right down into the 3x3 displaced moving average today with some juice, and a big push. And you got to think that the bond vigilantes are not going to be happy about massive inflation and owning bonds. So be a lot there. I didn't say that. Okay. What else do we have out here? Is Sava going back to $45? Certainly looks interesting, doesn't it? Let's take a look at this. I would say support comes in at about 62.50. You may get some here. You got to like the volume. Next to nothing compared to this candle on the way up on the 4th. 39 million shares. You're coming back into it with 4 million shares. Ideally, I almost always like to see, especially in horrible, ugly markets, like to see it come back and fill at least half the gap. On a good market, you could buy it right into today's test of that gap. But on horrible markets, they tend to come back a little bit more. So I'm going to say, 61, 62 is probably the only decent risk reward. And even that would be problematic with a market that's doing horrible. Other things going on out here. Okay, PPY, we handled that yesterday. SMHs. Getting slaughtered today. They are going to probably close below the 3x3, but it has not yet. It is close, though. This is where I'm thinking that you could get a few more of these sectors. People buy on the dip, get a couple of days out, maybe next Monday, maybe Friday, but next Monday, next Tuesday, see kind of a little bounce, and then see a break of the 3x3. And then we think that today's a big move in the SMHs. Support's back at around 270. You could see that in a day or two, I think, if that does fail. I don't have any evidence that it has yet. But if we get these kind of moves down, and then a slight move up. The next move down would be vicious. Question on Apple from Stan. AAPL. We'll keep an eye on that. Has anything drastically changed? No. The last volume day in this range was 125 million shares on the 29th of October. You got 41 million shares. So now this is not anything more than a pullback so far in Apple, although it is not good. I would suspect that you could see 146 in this before you find it bottoming out. Take a quick look at NVIDIA. Even with great news, they've come back to the 3x3 displacement, and that's just taking a 3-day average and moving it 3 days in the future. So you have some kind of ballistic curve to see. It stopped right at it today. It's a little bit above it. Could NVIDIA pull back? Any of these stocks can with a bad enough market. Again, get a couple of days sideways will get you underneath that. A couple of days above it. The next move below it is the one where you see the worst amount of damage. Another question about IBB. Can it get back to 146? I think it can. 146, 144 has been support for a while. Right now, we're just testing the support from October 6th. That was 153.38 with 3.6 million shares. It doesn't look bad so far today, but there's a lot of volume that comes in these biotechs at the close. So I would wait probably 15 minutes after the close to confirm. You can always buy in after hours if you're so possessed. I don't see anything out here, though, that says you want to buy this. Energy on the way down, and this gap down on the 5th is huge. And you've got legal entanglements, imperial entanglements, with Congress kind of going after a lot of these. There was a lot of hype thinking that all the mandated vaccinations would fly through. I was always kind of skeptical on that, mostly because OSHA has lost 17 times in a row since 1970 on that. Looks like we're going to lose again. So there's not a lot of compelled sales for these vax guys. And, I think a lot of people thought that was kind of going to be a ongoing gravy train. But we've got support here now. Sell when you can, not when you have to. Make sure you have stops in.
Are you in the market for buying or selling real estate in the Bay Area, including the surrounding St. Petersburg, Tampa, and Clearwater markets? Tiger Real Estate LLC is a firm that has extensive experience in the Tampa Bay area. Whether you're looking to sell your current property for maximum value, or you're in the market for a second home or investment property, Tiger Realty has the experience across all areas of real estate in the Tampa Bay area to help buyers and sellers make the most informed decisions across all price levels. From the price you should be paying per square foot in certain up-and-coming areas to the type of cash flow investment properties are capable of creating, Tiger Real Estate can help you make the best decision when it comes to all areas of the market. Before you make one of the biggest decisions of your financial future, call Tiger Real Estate LLC today at 727-329-8322 or email us at tiger@tfnn.com. That's 727-329-8322. Call us today.
The technology around us is changing every day. With so much happening, it can seem impossible to keep up with all the information. David White's investment newsletter, The Technology Insider, is designed to give you all the information you need to understand the technology that shapes today's markets and tomorrow's future. David White has made his living staying on the cutting edge of technology. His weekly newsletter will give you specific recommendations for value tech stocks, as well as entry prices, target prices, and stops to set for each trade. Dave delivers his weekly newsletters every Friday with updates throughout the week. You can get the Technology Insider at TFNN.com for only $37.50. Sign up for David's newsletter, The Technology Insider, and get an inside look at everything the technology sector has to offer. Try it risk-free today with our 30-day money-back guarantee. TFNN, educating investors.
Are China A shares hot or not? If you trade China A shares, now may be time to take a closer look. Trade CHAU or CHAD, Directions Daily CSI 300 China A Share Bull and Bear ETFs. China A shares in either direction. Visit directioninvestments.com today. An investor should consider the investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses of the Direction shares carefully before investing. The prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction shares. To obtain a prospectus or summary prospectus, please contact Direction shares at 866-476-7523. The prospectus or summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the fund is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC.
Don't forget, you can listen to TFNN live on your mobile device 24 hours per day. Go to TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV. That's TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV.
As we return, Qualcomm's off 4.4%. On any day, that would be a big move. Not a lot of volume here, though. Yeah, $150 is where I'd want to buy this thing. You've got a double gap right there. That's right where the 3x3 displaced moving average is running through the almost at that same point. But yeah, you may get in a horrible market. Could you get down to 147.50 or something? You probably could, but if it gets that bad, you may have an opportunity to buy something that's vastly outperforming what the market thought it was just 7 days ago. But looks pretty good. Question about Snap from Sally, SNAP. Keep those cards and letters coming. Also, give me a call at 877-927-6648. If I could remember to put the S on the front of it, we have something. The iOS issue that hit both Facebook and Snap. Wasn't really sure how much Snap depended on it, but probably a bigger problem for them than it was for Facebook, but it was still a big problem for Facebook. That doesn't change. I don't see anything changing from Apple on it. Those revenues from stealing all the data from iPhones is going to be problematic. We haven't looked at the Metamucil yet, but we will next. You got huge movement, huge down volume. This is the weak sister of the bunch. Although they've been able to do a lot of catch up, I still think that they do better. Coming, if I had to do a pairs trade, I'd probably be long Snap here and short the Facebook or the Metamucil. Symbol still FB, right? So what do they say that their name is? Meta Platforms. Okay. I'll call them Metamucil from now on. A break below, and this is the one where you start seeing a lot of damage. Not enough up thrust for me, but this is generally what you get. You get an automatic bounce, you get the move back down, and then that, once you break that 3x3, generally more volume comes in, and whether or not you can break the previous low at 308.11. As we said, I think on Monday, today is Wednesday, I think on Monday, maybe yesterday, there is a fairly good chance that legislation comes through that does mean that a lot of these big companies can no longer grow through acquisition and buyouts. That was a Tom Cotton and I'm thinking, I forget her name. She was a presidential candidate. Not Modowski. I'll think about it. Or do I? I think I may still have. Do I still have that up in PowerPoint? I think I do. Okay. I shall get her name now. If I did it, did I do it? Yeah, I erased it. Sorry. Anyway, pretty good chance of that bill going through Congress. So a lot of these big tech companies, including Microsoft, are probably going to be sitting on a lot of cash if they're making cash now. Probably other than share buybacks, you might not see a lot of action in these companies with the cash that normally they'd go after other companies with when that passes. And my understanding is that it should pass in the next 3 months. So it's not going to happen tomorrow. I imagine most traders will forget about even talking about this or listening to it. But know that in the first quarter of next year, if you don't get your thing through, you may not be able to get it through. Klobuchar, thank you. Didn't begin with an M, though, did it? Okay. Anyway, Meta Platforms, Metamucil. I'm going to just change the heading to Metamucil. This company and this CEO and the CFO invite their vision by their actions and their words and their creepiness. Anyway, they've done a lot of damage. Okay. We've got a couple more emails out here. Question on Workday, actually holding up fairly well. Down a little bit. No, you got some decent volume. You did spike high today, which is not a good sign. Does mean that you could go back and go after that 298.22. Just doing very well. If this does fail, the big problem is that you do have the support level is 260. So maybe something changes in there. If it does, 40-point range on this would be pretty good with options. Today's move, though, probably squashed a lot of that. The ability to go get it. What else do we have? We've got a couple minutes left. 877-927-6648. Email me. Okay, we got email. We got that one. Question about Adobe. ADBE. It's hard to think that these guys have big problems. They did have previous volume at the previous high, 2.5 million shares compared to 1.6 million shares. They are underneath it. You got a decent candle. You don't have a lot of volume. Ideally, if things got really horrible, you might be able to buy this thing back at $600. And that may be a decent trade out here. In fact, if we start seeing a lot of destruction of the market, we may see the government change its tune on energy production. But I put it in my newsletter this morning. I saw it in the Wall Street Journal. I think it was the Wall Street Journal. That the average household is going to spend $700 more heating their house than they did last year. In our case down here in Florida, it'll probably be cooling our house because it's still fairly nice down here, although I had the doors open before the show started. But, if you were going to have a big Christmas, there's not much to buy in there. At least maybe you're going to have the cash to pay these giant natural gas, and if you've got electric heat, maybe pay those bills. But $700 is going to be a fairly distinct hit, especially to those that don't have that kind of cash. I don't know what you say about that going forward, but it's hard to think that consumer confidence, once those bills start rolling in December and in January, are going to look very good to many people. 877-927-6648.
Sharpening your skills as an investor is like getting better at playing a musical instrument. You have to practice, sure, but you also need excellent instruction from experts. At TFNN, you'll get advice and guidance from the authority in technical market analysis. And it's not just dry, tedious text either. TFNN airs live financial content streamed live on TFNN.com and TFNN's YouTube channel with Tiger TV, live every market day from 8:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern, for free. Each host is an experienced trader and gives their take on the market while taking calls and questions live from around the world. From the moment the market opens until the closing bell sounds, Tiger TV has 8 different shows with expert hosts to help you make the right moves with your money. Watch online at TFNN.com or on TFNN's YouTube channel and become the investor you were born to be. TFNN, educating investors.
You might think that if you want to be successful at trading in the stock market, you're going to need a crystal ball. After all, it's impossible to predict the future, right? Like any endeavor in life, before you decide it's impossible, get some advice from the experts. You might find that it's not so impossible after all. For daily market overviews that give you direction on the key indices, selective stocks, and commodities, subscribe to the Opening Call newsletter at TFNN.com. The Opening Call newsletter is written by Basil Chapman, creator of the trading methodology known as the Chapman Wave. The Chapman Wave up-down sequence gives you an edge in identifying price turns, finding the peaks and valleys in stock prices. Get the Opening Call newsletter by Basil Chapman in your inbox every day. First-time subscribers also get a 30-day money-back guarantee. If you're not satisfied, let us know, and you'll get a full refund within 30 days of signing up. TFNN.com, educating investors.
Are you looking for a secured investment which pays you on a monthly basis? The Tiger First Mortgage Program may be the program for you. The best rate on a 5-year CD in the country right now, according to Bankrate.com, is paying 1% per year or $1,000 per $100,000 invested. The Tiger First Mortgage Program pays 7% per year, paid monthly, on secured, high-value, buildable properties in St. Petersburg, Florida. The investment is for 4 years, paying 7% per year or $7,000 per $100,000 invested. Your investment is secured by high-value real estate in St. Petersburg, Florida. Your investment can be anywhere from $100,000 to $500,000. Do you want to make $1,000 per year on $100,000 invested or $7,000 per year on a secured Tiger First mortgage? The Tiger First Mortgage Program may be just the program for you. The Tiger First Mortgage Program pays 7% per year, paid monthly. For more information, you can call 877-518-9190. That's 877-518-9190.
Catch Tom O'Brien, professional trader and educator, founder of TFNN. Also, a special guest on CNBC. Tom will bisect and dissect the markets. The Tom O'Brien Show, next on TFNN.
As we come back, question about team, Alassian. If the market wasn't so horrible, this would be a beautiful buy here. You had a nice move to 483, pull back to 430. Any kind of turnaround in the market, but I don't think that's going to be for a week. This thing may actually get back down to 415-ish. 416-ish, just because the market is acting so poorly. In fact, we're down 43 points on the S&P cash. Dow's not off extensively. I think maybe that was because it kind of lost a bit over the last couple of days already. This looks a little bit more interesting. But, hang on with Tom O'Brien in the next hour. My guess is that we're probably going to have at least some kind of effort to bounce this market. I've already told you what I'm looking for, which is a couple of days underneath and a couple of days to push higher. No volume into like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday next week. We could have a thrashing for next week. We could have a thrashing this week. It's just it would be tougher to predict it this week. I would love to see that market or the markets pull back and down a little bit, then try to push back up and not have anything. And that's generally where the big destruction is. As we said at the very beginning of the show, options were ugly going into the start of the show. Maybe they've gotten a little bit better. I've learned not to go out on a limb until the end of the day on Delta Neutral Day, but it's hard for me to see how these things aren't just ugly or really ugly by the end of the day. Maybe they just go to ugly, but they do not look good, and a ton of risk going into this morning for the option market makers. It didn't look like it's changed a lot before the show. Changes after, I'll update my subscribers. Watch out. Put in stops. So when you can, not when you have to. We'll see you here tomorrow. Same bat channel, same bat time.